things are happening to people all the time that's out of their control. Every day, every minute, some worse than others. But you know what is in your control? How you decide to handle whatever happened to you, how you decide to cope with it, whether or not you decide that this is a good enough reason for you to quit, that this is a good enough reason for you to not try to do what you think you want to do or what you should be able to do if everything went right for you. Let me just say this. Everyone that's experienced serious trauma in their lives, every single person who has really been through it is a stronger person than anyone who's just had it easy. Anybody who really goes through it has an opportunity to become way stronger. Now, this can be in a multitude of ways. And this is, I think, the root of that kind of thinking, that bad thinking that doesn't do anybody any good. That's basically just kicking somebody when they're down, throwing a pity party for yourself or for somebody else has no benefit. Thinking, oh, well, this happened to them, so that's why they never succeeded or that's why they can't get where they want. That does zero good in the world. You might as well go hurt somebody. Now, I don't want anybody to hurt anyone. And the point is, you think you're not doing that by telling people that they got no hope because of whatever happened to them? Let me just explain to you. The worst possible thing people can do is take away someone else's hope. That's the same thing that we do to ourselves inside. And a lot of times we didn't put that there. It could have come from a bad, family situation, or, you grew up in a household where everyone was always hypercritical of you and judging you and making you feel like you're not worthy and you're not good enough and they're smarter than you and you don't have a chance. Once you get out of that household, you eventually just say the same thing to yourself. You speak those same words to yourself. It's not something a lot of people understand. They can understand what it is to be abusive to other people when they think, oh, I'm not hitting them. I'm not, verbally assaulting them. I'm not doing anything to ruin their day on a regular basis. So I'm not abusing them. I'm not hurting anyone. But what are you doing to yourself? Are you looking in the mirror every day and telling yourself you can't? Are you trying to say that you win the contest for the worst possible thing that ever happened to anybody? So because you win the contest that doesn't exist, it's okay if you don't achieve. It's okay if you quit. It's okay. And not only is it okay, that person had this terrible thing, so it's okay if they quit. None of this stuff is positive or helpful in the least. I got news. Some people out there have had it so bad, way, way, way worse than you or anybody else or me, and they manage to still do something that benefits themselves from day to day. They get stronger today than they were yesterday. They're more positive today than they were yesterday. They're making progress. No matter where they start, progress, day to day. And if somebody who's had it way worse than you or me, can do that, then you can too. No matter what's ever gone wrong with you. I am very fortunate. There's no question about it that I am fortunate. I am fortunate to be able to communicate my experiences, share the feelings that I had when I was, experiencing extreme depression, and be able to kind of see what that was, because it wasn't so long ago that it's too hard to remember. It's very fresh in my mind what it feels like to feel like there's no hope. Poor me. Nothing's going to go right. I can't do, nothing is going to work out the way I want. If only this didn't happen. Plenty of things happen to people that's far worse than has ever happened to me. But there's been plenty of things that have happened to me that I've had to conquer in order to sit here and try to help anyone get somewhere further than they are. a little further today than yesterday, to change the way they think about themselves so they're not beating themselves up every day like many of us tend to do. I had to conquer things to sit here and do that on a daily basis and put myself out there and fight all these flies that smell like farts that want to come in and tell people they can't go nowhere, that it's some people never going to achieve, and that's because of their situation. Let me say this. If you change your day-to-day, you can absolutely change how fortunate you are. You may not be fortunate right now. Something may have happened or whatever, your pain, your trauma. You could use that, get stronger, and become someone who's fortunate. And when you do, because none of us are stagnant every day and we're just in the same place, when you do become more fortunate than you are right now, you will have only gotten there. It's only a door that's open to you if you first believe that you can. And that's the hardest part for most people. Belief that you can means that that voice that tells you you can't, that you have it the worst, you won the contest for worst possible thing that could ever happen to anybody, you got to stop thinking about that. You got to stop thinking that there's some contest that if everybody would just know that I've had it the worst, then all of a sudden they'd understand that not everything is possible for everyone. Once you stop clubbing baby seals, you can realize that none of that thinking has ever helped not one person in the entire world get one step further than where they are right now. The door of possibility of what could be there for you will remain closed, locked like a fortress that you are on the outside of until you realize everything that has ever happened for anyone started with them believing that they can, which is the toughest part because every day you got to keep that up. You got to keep it up every day, which is really hard also when you're around anybody who's trying to bring you down. And those people are out there because it justifies their own misery. Nobody tries to tell people they can't achieve unless they themselves are miserable. They have to be. Because anybody who's ever experienced anything positive, like I'm explaining, happening in their life, knew that the first step was to believe. That's the first step. If you don't believe, you cannot ever get there. The second step, which is also very hard, is putting in the work every single day to get a little further. That all adds up. There's a huge misconception that once you reach some point, some goal, some end, that you then become happy. You become happy every day you did something that you thought you couldn't. It's not the end, it's the journey, which is a cliche of, monstrous proportions, but there's so much truth in once you start doing something on a daily basis that you never thought you could, you wind up taking bigger steps every day. It's not necessarily stagnant where it's just a little bit all the time, just a little tiny bit. Sometimes it's little steps, but I'm telling you, once you start to feel good and you realize that it's not so scary, it's not going to be the end for you to take this risk. It wasn't as bad as I thought. Once you realize that, you just keep going further and further. But without believing in yourself, without thinking that I can do it, no matter how bad it was for me, no matter what happened, I can still achieve. Without thinking that, you'll never get there. And once you believe in yourself and you got rid of anybody who's telling you anything that you can't, so you shed those people, you get rid of them. And if it's people you can't shed because they're your family and they're built in, whatever, as quick as you can, you get out of the environment that these people are in. Let them be negative with themselves. You got to get to a place where you have nothing but this in here and whoever you decide to let in there. And a lot of us have a tendency to not really care what a lot of the outsiders think, but our family or people really close to us, it's easier to let them break us. Not for everybody, but that's how it works. When there's outside people talking, people we don't know, but they want to chime in and tell us nonsense. You can't do it. You shouldn't really do this. There's no good chance of succeeding at that. Why would you mess around with that for so long? What a waste of time. It's easier for us to shut those voices out than it is those that are really, really close to us. So it's so important to pick the people who are close to you wisely. Don't just keep being friends with the same people you've been friends with if that's who they are. And I'm not talking about good friends ripping on each other and this and that. It's a kind of a totally different thing. So I'm not even going to get into that, but I think everyone can really know who's in it for themselves to say something that's going to hurt you because it makes them feel better. And it also might justify their own failures, and it justifies their own ability to not succeed. It justifies what they haven't done. It's easy for them to say that, and you could feel who that is, rather than people who are just kind of giving you the whatever because they're your close friends. So you guys do that with each other. It's not the same thing. So, there's certain people who are only out to hurt, and you got to have a keen enough sense to know who that is. And this is the point that is extremely important. No matter what it is in nature that experiences those traumas and the pain and the hardships and the hard times, it's always uncomfort. Being uncomfortable, that's always the answer for how you can actually grow. So you have to turn any terrible things you've been going through, your traumas, your pains, your everything, you have to turn it into your strength. And that right there first requires the mind to be able to say, this won't break me. This isn't it. And it also requires you to open up to the possibility that the answer for something that you might be wanting to achieve could be multifaceted and not just the thing you're trying, laser focused on. In other words, I never ever thought I would actually enjoy helping people. I always felt like, I'm going to, or I should say helping people through communication or talking. I always, always, always felt I was meant to make music and write songs that people would love. Working on music gave me incredible amounts of joy. Playing guitar made me feel like I was really good at something. Writing songs made me feel like I could communicate a thought I was having. Never ever did I think I would enjoy talking to anyone, helping anyone through words by just talking. I had to actually try doing this, which would kind of happen out of just a happenstance of wanting to share some experiences. And once I started doing that, I realized that what makes me fortunate is actually the fact that ingrained in me is all these thoughts about what it means to be depressed because I was there, what it means to feel like you won't achieve because I was there, and then how quickly and also how drastic of a change you can experience simply by believing you can and then working every day in order to achieve. Literally, that's all it took. Taking the risk and being afraid and hitting post every day led me down this path that it's something I love to do, is try to help other people. I would have never ever found that if I just stayed within that comfort zone of what I was used to doing. I had to be open to the idea that maybe this will go well. Let me try it. And if I had people telling me you should stop doing that, this is ridiculous. This is, I would never have done it. So I didn't have that. I actually had positive forces in my life telling me, go for it. What do you got to lose? Go for it. So that's exactly what I did. And it doesn't make me special. It's not the hardest thing to have done. But the point is, this works on all levels. Do the thing that you're not sure you're going to like, and maybe you wind up loving it. And maybe it gives you entree into those other things that you might really also want to do. You don't know. You have to try things. You have to not be scared to try and be willing to fail. See, when I work out every day, I feel great mentally. When I was not working out a year ago, I didn't know at the time that I did not feel great mentally. I thought I was feeling great. I thought I was feeling fine. And that's the thing I think so many people do is they just get used to whatever's going on. So you could be extremely depressed and not even realize how depressed you are. All you know is you're not accomplishing what you want to accomplish. That's all you know. And you don't ever really look at what's going on mentally with you and realize you are really not operating at your highest potential. It actually requires that change where now you feel better to be able to say, I never felt good then. Isn't that amazing? You have to feel good to realize before wasn't good. So the way I look at this is when you learn the things that make you feel good, like for me, I learned working out is something I must do all the time. And the weird thing is, you got to keep reminding yourself. I had to keep reminding myself because I forgot. I used to work out like crazy, and then for about a year or so, I stopped completely. Because why? It's easier not to. As soon as things go a little different, things get harder, you get more busy, you now have more responsibilities. As soon as anything changes in your life, it's so easy to shed the hard things. And we forget how important they were to our growth, to our continued happiness. You have to be reminded on the daily. And that's why it doesn't matter how many people say this kind of thing to you. It doesn't matter how many times I've said this kind of thing. We need to be reminded like a jolt of electricity. Hey, wake up. Are you where you want to be? If not, get there. Work at it every day. You got no excuse. You don't have it worse than everyone. There is no contest for who has it worse. Stop trying to win a contest that doesn't exist. Everybody needs to be awakened to this because we forget. We forget. I forgot. As soon as I started working out, the first thing I did was want to change the quality of the fuel that I'm putting into me, into my body. I wanted to eat better, which also then yields a sharper brain and a better result. It makes you all of a sudden now you're working out, so physically you're starting to feel better, but mentally you're also not tired all the time. Because when you consume junk and garbage and you don't care what you eat, you're not able to operate. You're just exhausted all the time. You got no good fuel for the car. It's all dirty, gross, disgusting fuel. It's not getting you anywhere. Whereas as soon as you start working out, even for the people who have never done it, I can't stress how important this is. There's statistics all the time that the world is getting more and more obese all the time, year after year, because more and more people forget how important this is. As soon as you start working out, the first thing most people want to do is say, maybe I should start considering what I put in my body. Maybe I should consider not eating the McDonald's 3-4 times a week. Maybe I should consider not having bowls of pasta all the time. Maybe I should consider it. That's the first thing that happens after you start working out for most people. It's not just me who thinks like this. You do one thing, so you want to kind of finish it up, go all the way with it. What's the point of working out every day if I'm just going to pig out on garbage? So you then improve what you put in your body. So it compounds. Now your mental state is so much sharper. It doesn't matter what you like to do. Do some physical exercise. Get the heart rate pumping. Get yourself in a position to feel better by doing these things. Then watch what you accomplish. I got no stake in this. I got no dog in this fight other than wanting to help people because I know what it feels like to feel like I cannot be helped. I know what it feels like to be depressed, to be thinking there's no possibility of this going well for me in this life. Anybody can change. Yes, some people are more fortunate than others, and I agree. I am extremely fortunate, and I get to share with you guys and help people because I'm so fortunate. I don't know if you think that's a bad thing, but to me, a bad thing would be telling anybody out there that they can't. That's a bad thing. That's something that should be really examined. You think it's bad to kick a baby seal? Well, it's about the same thing to tell somebody they can't get nowhere. They shouldn't try. They shouldn't keep trying, that they have it so bad that they should give up. There's no difference. There's a lot of other things you could have wasted your time doing. And if you saw this and you watched till now, man, I hope it hit you. If I help one of you, it feels good to me. It's a lot better of a feeling than feeling like poor me, pity party me. And so many of us stay there until someone jolts us out of it. So I hope this got there. And on a lighter note, day 7 in the gym today, leg day. Woo, leg day. You're the best of right now. It was a hard day. It was a hard day. Squats are my least favorite thing in the whole world, but they get blood pumping. They're the biggest muscles in the body, your legs. So once you get them working, all of a sudden, everything else does better. I noticed way more gains in my entire upper body once I started doing legs in the gym years ago. Like there was a huge correlation there. So now it's something I can never, ever leave out of my workouts. You always have to have a leg day. And no matter what you think about, I'm always in pants, I live in the cold, like nobody sees my leg, it doesn't matter. It makes everything else work better. Just doing that, you'll get stronger in your entire rest of your body. It also takes a lot out of you. So it makes you got to breathe right. It's the whole thing. And never just do that. Do that always with the stomach. Do the ab stuff every day, leg raises. What are we doing here? You guys got this, all right? So I hope you're following along. I hope you got your own gym thing going on, and always feel free to leave that stuff in the comments. So many people don't know how to work out, and they feel like they're never going to know because they might not already, especially musicians. Like a lot of musicians, it's like you pick what you focus on. And a lot of musicians, for whatever reason, never really focused on the gym. Some of us do, and the ones that do know how critical and important it is, but don't ever feel bad about not knowing how to do stuff, like what you should do that day. Especially with YouTube today, there's tons of stuff out there about how to do whatever you're trying to learn how to do. But tell me anything in the comments because I appreciate it. Questions, answers, all of it. Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios. You guys got this. Take it easy.